The FDA is proposing that cigarette makers be required to put very graphic images on every pack of cigarettes. It's all part of a new federal government effort to curb smoking, especially among young people. Now, while no one disputes smoking is harmful to your health, are these new warning labels, which include unsettling images of diseased lungs and dying people, an example of what's being described as a nanny state trying to control the behavior of U.S. citizens? Joining us now, Sam Kazman, the General Counsel at the Competitive Enterprise Institute, a free market advocacy organization. Welcome. Nice to have you here.
Thanks for the invite.
Now, I know that you find some of these proposals, efforts, and these ads kind of like over the top and overkill. Why?
Well, look, there's not a person alive, certainly not an adult alive in this country, who does not know that smoking is a very risky activity. And so the question is, what is FDA trying to do here? It has these warnings that are already on the packs. It simply does not like the fact that certain people are making decisions at variance with what FDA wants us to do. And so it's trying to shout louder at people. It's trying to gross them out. I don't think FDA ought to be spreading this sort of grossness and ugliness across the country.
Okay, but they say that this campaign is targeting teenagers, young people very specifically, in order to shock them into understanding more about the consequences of what can happen if you're addicted to nicotine. Why is that not a positive message to get young people to pay more attention to?
Well, one, it's not a positive message. I mean, I think it's a shock jock message, but at least
a positive message in the sense, a positive effort
in
that's
terms
being made
of the goal,
to try to
yes. But one, there's no evidence whatsoever that this is going to have any impact on that. Secondly, a lot of young people just love to rebel, and they rebel by smoking. And if they can rebel even more by pulling these cigarettes out of incredibly outrageous illustrated packs, they might be attracted to do it even more. I don't really think that is what FDA ought to be doing here. And frankly, what they do in terms of regulation of tobacco is going to end up being the same thing they will do on regulation of food and the big war against obesity 5 years down the line. And I think that would be even worse.
So you're more concerned about the concerns over government intervention in this situation?
Right. I don't think it's government's function to be grossing out citizens. You know, you check government's job description in the U.S. Constitution, that's not there.
And so do you believe that if enough people raise the red flag and protest their concerns and say that they don't want this type of intervention, that it's going to stop any effort to move forward?
Well, FDA, in a sense, is acting at the direction of Congress. Now, Congress is, I think, in the midst of going through a power shift, and I hope they'll reverse themselves. One thing to keep in mind, the law under which FDA is acting here was signed by President Obama, who is himself a smoker. And when Henry Waxman, the sponsor of this law, was asked, "What do you think about our president being a smoker?" his response was, well, he's an adult. He knows the risks. I think FDA ought to be showing the same respect for Americans that Waxman was showing to our president.
All right, Sam Kazman, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts on the matter, something that we're going to be following quite closely in the days and months ahead.
Thank you.